911, what's your emergency?
Now to a special reporting effort here at the NewsHour that we're calling America Addicted. Opioids are now the biggest drug epidemic in American history.
An addiction that no one is immune to.
Eye-opening new numbers reveal the tragic toll the opioid epidemic continues to take right here in southern New England.
And according to the Massachusetts Department of Health, more than 2,000 people died of opioid-related overdoses last year.
According to the Fall River Police Department, in 2016, 934 people in the area overdosed on drugs, almost 300 more than the year before.
And as you can see from the staggering numbers on your screen right here, the deadly epidemic has touched nearly every community in southeastern Massachusetts.
And the report identifies Fall River as one of the hardest hit cities in the state.
John Medeiros, 46, and I just been hooked on the dope. I got hurt working construction. I went to the hospital, and the first they gave me some Percocets, and that didn't help. So I started taking more and more stuff. I went to a friend of mine, Jose, and he said, hey, why don't you try some of this stuff? And it seemed to help. And the next thing you know, I'm just doing heroin, like dime bag a day.
1 year ago I had an overdose where we were called over the air for our second unit. Our first unit was at the corner of Osborne and Plymouth Ave for a overdose that was currently going under the way on scene.
It's so powerful, and that is the major cause of death around here now, is the heroin laced with fentanyl.
210 Washington Boulevard for an overdose.
When we got there, we saw the victim, the patient, was inside the driver's compartment. Window was broken, opened by one of our fellow partners. They administered 2 intranasal Narcan while we were before we arrived on scene.
Narcan will actually put a cap on those mu receptors, block the receptors so that the opiate can no longer attack that area of the brain. The brain actually becomes wired in a different way when they become addicted to opiates. That wiring causes them to, all they think about, the family, loved ones, morality, all of that's out the window.
We began to bag because we started hearing snoring respirations. We assisted ventilations with a bag valve mask connected to high flow oxygen. Within a couple seconds of doing that, the patient abruptly came out of it. He was not aware where he was, didn't know why he was in the back of an ambulance.
And then next thing you know, I wake up and there's doctors and nurses around. I didn't even know where I was, but I was in the emergency room.
Most often this is given as a blast of Narcan, and these people wake up and are often violent. They can thrash around. They're not very happy for you to have ruined the money they just spent on their high. Of course, you just saved their life too, but that's by the by.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, I think I'd overdosed because, I was taking, 2 dime bags and it was fine. And the shit must have been laced with fentanyl or something.
Many paramedics will come in at least with 1 or 2 overdoses a day. I asked them, how many overdoses calls do you go on, per shift? And they say, well, at least one a shift, or 2.
Depending on the size of the community, they may be literally making runs on overdose patients several times a day. The police department also is tied up with seeing these patients. They all have Narcan and they know how to use it. It's a terrible travesty for family members. When they have experienced the death of a loved one, it's unimaginable, and especially something that seems so senseless.
Addiction is not an individual problem. It's a family problem. And ultimately, it's a community problem.
I was doing all right. I was working construction, making a good living, and next thing you know, I get hurt, and then I go, and then nothing would solve the pain. Well, no, would take the pain away, and I just kept asking for more and more, and the doctors wouldn't give me anything more. And then, I go to the streets, and I had some friends. And they said, hey, try this. Hey, it took the pain away. Took the pain away. The advice that I would give is don't do that shit, because, the thing is, you get on that, and then, you lose your old lady, you lose your house, your car. I'm on the streets now. I got nothing else to live for.
Project Reconnect demonstrates to addicted individuals and their families that they're not disposable, that all hope is not lost, and that they matter.
What I do believe is that this is the strongest and most comprehensive legislation in the country to prevent, educate, and treat folks who are dealing with opioid addiction.
It is a problem the likes of which we have not seen. I'm confident that by working with our healthcare and law enforcement experts, we will fight this deadly epidemic, and the United States will win.